The person you're looking at, Ethan Warren, had no idea that tonight would be his last shift at the gas station. It was supposed to be an ordinary night, quiet, uneventful. But fate had other plans, and that gas station, on the edge of town, would soon become the scene of something far more sinister. To understand what happened, let me give you some context. Ethan was a 34-year-old family man, known for his kindness and patience. After moving back to his hometown, following his father's passing, he took up the night shift at the local gas station. He had a wife, Sarah, and a young son, Leo, both of whom he adored. Ethan was well loved in the community, known for his easygoing nature, and the way he always had a joke ready for customers who came by, even at 2 a.m., on October 29th, just a few days before Halloween. Ethan showed up for his shift at the gas station. It was a quiet night, shrouded in a thick mist that had rolled in unexpectedly, cloaking the station in an eerie glow under the old, buzzing, fluorescent lights. The usual flow of customers had trickled down to almost nothing. Ethan took a deep breath, feeling an odd chill in the air that night. He brushed it off, chalking it up to the fog that had settled in heavily around the building. It started simply enough. Around 1:15 a.m., a regular customer, Mrs. Fletcher, came in to pay for gas. She was in her 60s, with a raspy voice, and always wearing an oversized, knitted shawl. Tonight, she had grabbed a couple of snacks and a bottle of water, as she always did. But as she reached for her purse, she suddenly realized she had left her wallet in the car. "One moment, Ethan, I'll be right back," she said, giving him a warm smile as she stepped outside to grab it, leaving Ethan alone in the store. Just as Mrs. Fletcher was outside, a second man entered the store. Ethan had never seen him before, tall, lean figure, with sunken eyes that seemed to pierce through the dim light. There was something unsettling about his gaze. His lips stretched into a forced, hollow smile as he sauntered up to the counter. "Slow night, huh?" he said, his voice low, almost a whisper. Unknown to Ethan, a third man was lurking just outside, hidden by the fog, watching the station with an intensity that seemed almost predatory. And then, it happened. The man outside burst through the door, pulling a worn revolver from his jacket. He demanded that Ethan open the register, his voice filled with desperation and a hint of fury. Heart pounding, Ethan stayed calm, keeping his hands visible as he opened the till, hoping that the intruders would just take the money and leave. But there was a problem. The register barely had $30 in it. The intruder's face twisted into rage. "This all you got?" he spat, turning the gun back toward Ethan. His hands shook, and the tension in the air thickened as the other man's hollow grin grew even wider. In an explosive fit of anger, the gunman raised the weapon, his finger tightening on the trigger. A single, deafening gunshot rang out, echoing through the empty night. Ethan collapsed behind the counter, the store falling silent, save for the shallow, struggling breaths escaping his lips, each one weaker than the last. His vision blurred, and he could just make out Mrs. Fletcher's faint shadow as she approached the entrance. Moments later, Mrs. Fletcher stepped back inside, only to freeze as she saw Ethan lying behind the counter. Her face went pale as she took in the scene, the empty register, the blood seeping across the floor. In shock, she stumbled back, fumbling for her phone as she realized what had happened. She called for help, but it was too late. The fog outside thickened, blanketing the station in a mournful silence. Thanks to the security footage from that night, it didn't take long for the police to identify the attackers as Marcus Hale and Johnny Reese, a pair known for their string of small-time robberies that had recently escalated. Within weeks, they were caught and brought to justice, but for Ethan's family, the damage was irreparable. Sarah and Leo were left to pick up the pieces of a life shattered in one senseless act of violence. Sometimes, life takes the most unexpected, heartbreaking turns, reminding us of the fragility of each passing day. Ethan's story is a sobering reminder of how danger can strike without warning, even in the quiet places we trust. His family, left with only memories, found some peace knowing justice was served. But the emptiness left by his absence lingered. Thank you for watching. If you want to hear more stories like this, please like and subscribe. And remember, stay safe and take care of one another.